Welcome back to Ben Salutes. And when I was a kid, holidays actually had a purpose other than just giving workers an excuse to have a day off. Well, last week I talked about that horrible show that shall not be named, so I feel that it's time to get that terrible vision out of my brain. So, what cartoon can I salute? But I already saluted that twice. Not again until season 3 comes around. It's a good show, but it's hard to make a video about a show that's the same thing over and over again. I only watch that show when I'm bored. Screw you. Screw you. What the heck is this? A Disney Channel show that's not a teen sitcom? And it's a 2D animated cartoon? Well, looks like they're still trying to put effort into their programming. However, just because it's a cartoon doesn't mean it's going to be good, especially if it's a modern cartoon. So, I guess I'll take a look at this show. Whoa. Whoa. Folks, talk about having my expectations blown away. This cartoon, holy crap. This cartoon, I can't wait. I want to start praising this show. Get ready to see that Disney has grown some guts again. Here is my salute on Gravity Falls. So, this show is about two twins named Dipper and Mabel Pines as they're spending the summer in the town of Gravity Falls, Oregon with their great uncle Stan, who owns a museum called the Mystery Shack. You would think this would be how far the plot goes for a Disney Channel show, but oh no, you haven't seen anything yet. You see, Dipper and Mabel find out that Gravity Falls isn't the most normal town out there. It's home to some supernatural occurrences and strange beings. Wow, this is getting interesting. But wait, it gets better. It gets a heck of a lot better. Dipper and Mabel aren't the run-of-the-mill kids that are going to stay indoors and play FPS games. Heck no. They actually go out and look for these weird things that happen. And that's the plot of this show. Holy free holy. A cartoon about two kids who go searching for strange things on Disney Channel of all places? I'm just as shocked as you are, but I'm not complaining. The plot is really interesting and drags me in right away. However, a show's plot can only do so much. It's the characters that need to hold my attention. Let's take a look at them. Now, you would think that Dipper Pines would be a stereotypical boy who likes watching things blow up and flirting with women. Well, shame on you for infringing stereotypes. Dipper is actually a smart character who loves solving problems. He also can't stay indoors very long and is always wanting to go on adventures. Hey, I like this guy. I'm all for characters that like to go on adventures so they can take the viewers along with them. Well, we're at a great start in the character department. Let's take a look at more characters. Next, there's Mabel Pines, who's Dipper's sister. You would think just because she's a female character that she'd be annoying, obsessed with shopping, and be boy crazy. Once again, you're putting this show down. Mabel is optimistic and bubbly. She loves going on adventures with her brother, and she's always finding ways to make me laugh. No doubt about it, Mabel is my favorite character. I don't even need a second thought. My favorite character in a cartoon is usually the one that makes me laugh the most, so Mabel wins it for me. Well, we have a great pair of two siblings who don't argue, believe it or not. Now, all we need is the bread to this butter. That is the supporting characters. This is Dipper and Mabel's great uncle Stan, or Grunkle Stan as they call him. He is a businessman and is always trying to get as much money out of his museum as possible. However, when business is slow, he just stays home and relaxes. He is also caring of Dipper and Mabel, but not too caring. I like this guy. Think of Mr. Krabs, except not a sadistic jerk. Finally, there's Seuss. He's a worker at Stan's museum and is a man-child. Hold on! You didn't let me finish. He's a man-child that has proven to be intelligent at times and is always there when Dipper and Mabel need help on their adventures. Hold on to your hats, folks. If you're not wearing hats, then hold on to your hair. There's a man-child character that's not annoying or brain dead. I didn't think that was possible either. Well, Gravity Falls has a batch of characters that I actually care for. That's two positives so far. Let's hope this show doesn't blow it with the episodes. I'm going to give a summary on them, and they may contain spoilers. It's hard to talk about this show when one of its positives are plot twists. The first episode was Tourist Trapped. In this one, Mabel falls in love with a boy and Dipper thinks he's a zombie. You think it would go that way, but this show isn't messing around with predictability. Oh no. It turns out that Mabel's boyfriend is a bunch of gnomes. The gnomes want her to be their queen, and Mabel says no. On any other cartoon, it might end there, but this show doesn't play that way. Instead, the gnomes kidnap her and Dipper has to save her by driving a golf cart into the gnome's lair and driving away with her. That was a decent climax. I can say it went farther than anything I've seen on Cartoon Network. Wait, what's that? That wasn't the climax? You're dang right it wasn't the climax! So, with their queen being taken away, the gnomes jumbled together to form a giant gnome monster that chases after the two in the golf cart. Here's what you have. Two kids driving in a golf cart through the woods while a giant gnome monster chases after them. Your argument is invalid. Sit back and enjoy the awesomeness. They eventually defeat the gnome monster, and I'm still amazed at what I just saw. Bottom line, this was a great pilot episode. It introduced the characters well, and there were lots of funny moments that I'm forgetting about. And there were plot twists aplenty. There's no doubt this show is going to be something special, but I decided to watch more to solidify my love for it. Next up was The Legend of the Gobble Knocker. In this one, Stan wants to go on a fishing trip with Dipper and Mabel, but when the two hear about a monster that lives in the local lake, they decide to go looking for it. What leads is an epic chase between them and the Gobble Knocker water monster that turns out to be a machine that was built by a crazy old man. I didn't see that coming. Eventually, Dipper and Mabel decide to meet up with Stan and go on their fishing trip. Aww. Anyway, this episode was also awesome. Although it didn't have as much plot twists as the previous episode, it still had high levels of epicness and there were lots of funny moments. There was one moment where Dipper bought 17 cameras to use in case some go missing to get a picture of the Gobble Knocker monster, but things happened to a lot of them along the way. There was also some great gags that came from Stan trying to find somebody to fish with. This show was on a great track, but 3 times the charm, so let's take a look at the third episode. The third episode was Headhunters. In this one, Mabel finds out that Stan has his own personal wax figures collection, so Mabel decides to make a wax figure of Stan. One night, the wax figure's head is cut off. Decapitation in a cartoon? This show has guts. Granted, it was a wax figure, but still! Anyway, Dipper and Mabel search for the wax figure murderer. It turns out, it was the wax figures. The wax figures are alive! Holy crap! Living wax figures! This show can't stop being awesome. The icing on this episode's cake was that the wax figures are modeled after famous people. What's this? This show's going for pop culture references that only adults will get? That's what I'm talking about! I also recognize the figures, like Sherlock Holmes, William Shakespeare, Larry King, rapper who Weird Al ticked off, and Groucho Marx! That's right, Groucho Marx. This show is speaking to me. So, Dipper and Mabel get into an epic fight with the wax figures until the sun comes up and melts Sherlock Holmes, who was the leader of the wax figures. They find the head of Stan's wax figure and they are able to fix it. That's 3 episodes in a row that I liked. I also liked the 4th one, but after the 3rd one, I knew I was going to have to be setting my DVR to record new episodes on Friday. So, this is a great show. However, it's modern, so I hate it. Nah, I'm just kidding. What, you thought I would hate a cartoon just because it's modern? Well, shame on you for infringing stereotypes. Anyway, now that I've talked about how great the episodes are, I'd like to give my general positives I have for this show. Like I said, the characters are great. I'm interested in every single one of them, and they all have a chance to have funny lines. Like I said, Mabel is my favorite. She makes this show for me. The characters were enough for me to like this show, but there was more that I love. The next thing I love is the fact this show is about kids hunting monsters. I'm sorry, I just can't get over that. I freaking love shows about monster hunting. It reminds me of one time I went on a monster hunt. I remember I walked into the woods and I thought I saw something. I don't remember anything after that. Anyway, monsters rule. The next thing I like to note is the humor. I've seen 4 episodes, but not once has there been any sign of toilet humor. Thank you, Gravity Falls, for treating both the adults and the children watching this show as intelligent human beings. This show mostly relies on unexpected humor, as well as play on words. In Headhunters, there was one scene where Dipper and Mabel needed to use fake IDs to get into a club. The camera then showed a close-up of the bouncer, and he said, "Sorry, we don't serve minors." The camera then shows a coal miner getting mad. That cracked me up so much. I did not see that coming. That's just a glimpse of how funny this show is. Another thing I like is this show's episodes actually lead to something. There's no bullcrap cop-outs here. These episodes make you anticipate something to happen, and they don't disappoint. Once you think this episode can't go any farther, it throws a curveball and gets bigger. You see, this show gives me what I didn't get from shows like Adventure Time and Regular Show. With those shows, I watched episodes expecting something interesting to happen, but they never led to anything impressive. This show, however, takes my expectations and stretches them out, leading to things that I didn't even know were coming. The next thing I love about this show is its creator. Alex Hirsch previously worked on The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack and Fishhooks. I'm not a fan of either of those shows, so I think he more than made up for them with this show. I'd also like to note that he voices both Stan and Seuss. I had no idea. They sounded so different that I couldn't tell they were by the same guy. Thank you, Alex Hirsch. You see, he's choosing to voice some of his characters, but he's actually putting effort into it. He's putting on cartoon voices, which is something that some creators don't try. I also love the animation. It's great by TV budget standards. It actually looks like something that professional animators are doing. Way to make those degrees look worth it, animators of Gravity Falls. So, bottom line, Gravity Falls is one heck of a great cartoon. The characters are interesting, the plots are epic, and the humor is top-notch. This cartoon kind of reminds me of one of Disney's old cartoon shows that aired during the Disney afternoon. It's like they finally are getting their guts back. Granted, Phineas and Ferb was a step in the right direction, but this show has perfected that direction. This show is also proving that Disney knows how to break down barriers. This show is actually Disney's darkest show on now. Granted, it's not as edgy as Gargoyles, but in this day and age, this is a huge step forward for Disney. I have to say, this is my second favorite modern cartoon on right now. I'm pretty sure you know what my favorite one is, but let's be honest, that one's a hard act to follow. So, I salute Gravity Falls. If you're a fan of cartoons, you owe it to yourself to watch this show. If you're a parent, this is one show you can watch with your kids and not have to worry about having suicidal thoughts while watching it. I want this show to be successful, so I'm asking all my fans to give it a try. If this show is successful, maybe it'll help Disney realize that we want more shows like this one, and for them to get their heads out of their behinds permanently. Anyway, I'm Ben, and I'm signing out. I'm late for a probing.